Dear students, today I am going to take the lecture Androgens Male Sex Hormones. This will comprise into two lectures, and today I am going to tell you about the first part of this lecture. I am Dr. Ghulam Mohammad Loon, Associate Professor of Pharmacology. As you know, androgen and related drugs today, and it can be classified into four types of the drugs in particular. Androgens, we have first of all natural and synthetic coming in the first part, androgens. In the natural we have testosterone, dihydrotestosterone, androsterone. Synthetic we have methyl testosterone, flexomesterone and mestosterone. In anabolic steroids we have methandienone and nandrolone phenylpropionate, nandrolone deconate and oxymetholone and stanozolol. Then we have anti-androgenic cyproterone acetate, futamide and bicalutamide. And the important is androgen and related drugs. We have the fourth one, 5-alpha reductase inhibitors. And important drugs, finasteride and dutasteride are the two, and there is third one also. But so far as the male sex hormones are concerned, they are important armamentarium for the doctor. And the androgens, we should know about its synthesis and secretion, regulation, pharmacological actions like pharmacodynamics, pharmacokinetics like absorption, distribution, metabolism, and preparations, therapeutic uses and adverse effects. And anabolic steroids, they differ from the androgens. Their preparations we should know, therapeutic use we should know, and their adverse effects, and we have not used it for a long time because they are contraindicated and they are not recommended, and we have to do the dope test for them. Anti-androgens we have danazol, cyproterone acetate, futamide, finasteride. Now sildenafil we can take it separately and in the second class. So introduction we have, and I can repeat things, some slides are to be repeated so that you will remember it is real sense and real pharmacology. So androgens are the substances which cause development of the secondary sex characters in castrated male. Testes are responsible for male characters. Testis functions are spermatogenesis occurring within the seminiferous tubules. Production of the androgenic hormones. And classification, I already touched it. It consists of the substances which cause secondary sex characteristics in male. Natural androgens from testis, testosterone is secreted 5 to 12 mg daily. Dihydrotestosterone more active by 5-alpha reductase, and its activation is more than the testosterone on some other, I would say, androgenic parts. From other parts they are more pronounced. From adrenal cortex they are weak androgens, dihydroepiandrosterone and androstenedione. These are the weak androgens. Then female testosterone we have 0.25 to 0.5 mg per day ovary plus adrenal. And androsterone is the metabolite of testosterone. This is not only because of this, androgen and ketosteroids here, it is very important because you should, in the future, you should be the good doctors and you should be the investigative doctors. These are the biomarkers. So androgen plus testosterone gives the 17 ketosteroids once it is glucuronidation takes place, and this is very important tool because these are testosterone, androstenedione and DHEA. These androgens are from the adrenal gland, testicular organ, and then in the end we have 17 ketosteroids. They are important. We can collect the 24-hour urine, and then we can go for the 17 ketosteroid estimation in the urine 24 hours. And females, it is increased this masculization. If it is increased in the male, then there is a precocious, there is a more, I would say, then we have other problems. So male we have 10 to 25 milligram per 24 hours in the urine, and female is just 6 to 15 milligram per 24 hours. So this is very important tool here. So this class and androgens or 17 ketosteroids is a tool by the help of which we can see the level of the testosterone and the 17 ketosteroids. This gives us the clue about the masculinization in the female, and in the male we have precocious, this abnormality can be found. So this synthetic androgens, methyl testosterone, is fluoxymesterone, propionate and enanthate, and testosterone and decanoate and mesterone. These are the synthetic ones, because these synthetic are very important for long half-life. They sustain, their concentration is sustained, and they are not being, I would say, having the first pass effect and like this. Now this testosterone, as you know, it is produced from the cholesterol primarily by Leydig cells in the testes, secreted at adult level during first trimester and during the neonatal life at 2, you can see the curve, and continually after the puberty. So converted by 5-alpha reductase to the more potent 5-alpha dihydrotestosterone, or we can call it as DHT, which is responsible for many of the responses to testosterone in the urogenital tract, that is prostate gland, that we call as the hyperplasia in the adult or in the after the 65 years. So that's why we go for different tests after the 65. For prostate, we do the PSA level, we do the we go for the ultrasonography, and there are so many markers, and binds to and activates a single androgen receptor bound to plasma, to albumin and sex hormones binding globulins, that we call it the SHBG. I have already told you that albumin, the weak acidic drugs are bound to, and the weak basic drugs are alpha-glycoproteins. But there is that protein and bound in plasma, particularly these sex hormone binding globulins, SHBG. Androgen receptors are present in many tissues, including reproductive tissue, skeletal muscle, brain, kidney, etc. High first pass metabolism is there, and it is ineffective, orally, testosterone. Now we have all androgen contain a testosterone structure. Testosterone has 19 carbon, and in general it is a steroidal structure. So from the testosterone, if we have dihydrotestosterone, we have 17 alkyl substitution, and we can have the synthetic methyl testosterone or fluoxymesterone. Then we have the biosynthetic pathway that I have shown in the steroids, like adrenocorticosteroids, and they have got a common pathway, female sex hormone and male sex hormones, and also the in the adrenal medulla, this pathway takes place also. This cholesterol under the influence of the ACTH is converted to pregnenolone, then progesterone. Then from progesterone it can go to the 17-hydroxyprogesterone, or from pregnenolone it goes to 17-alpha-hydroxypregnenolone. Then it goes dihydroepiandrosterone, and then 17-hydroxyprogesterone it goes to the androstenedione, and then it is the formation of the testosterone. And then we have the estradiol in the female sex hormones, and we have estradiol. And then we have other aldosterone, cortisol, and testosterone. They have got the same precursor. It is from the cholesterol. So these were different enzymes we have to be well versed with. Like the progesterone is formed by the 21 beta hydroxylase and 17 hydroxyprogesterone and the desoxycortisol, it also the same enzyme. Same enzyme is the 11 desoxycorticosterone and formation to corticosterone, and then from 11 desoxycortisol to cortisol, it is having the same enzyme. So these enzyme is very important, and these are the rate limiting enzymes. And then we have the regulation of the secretion. So LH, testosterone secretion is, I would say, taken care of, and FSH and spermatogenesis takes care of. And that is why high testosterone inhibits LH. So when we have more LH, it is a less testosterone. So they are antagonistic to each other. And estrogen is feedback inhibition there. So inhibit, and that we call the FSH inhibition. And this is all, I would say, you have to see the control of the testosterone synthesis from anterior pituitary, hypothalamus, and testis and the ovaries, how they are, I would say, being regulated, how their secretion is regulated. And almost plasma level of the testosterone is 0.3 to 1 microgram per deciliter in males and 20 to 60 nanogram per deciliter in females. It is not microgram, you can differentiate it. It is less quantity, less secretion of progesterone in the females. It is in the nanogram, and that is 0.3 to 1, it is microgram. And then we have biological effects testosterone. What its biological effects are? So testis promotion of the spermatogenesis and maturation of the sperm. Moderately high dose causes testicular atrophy by inhibition GM secretion. So androgenic effects are in the fetus. Testosterone promotes development of the male reproductive tract, internal genitalia, vas deferens, and epididymis and external genitalia. These are the sex differentiating androgenic effects. During puberty, testosterone promotes development of the primary sexual characters, that is the enlargement of the penis, scrotum, and the testes. Secondary sexual characters, that is the male body shape, axillary, pubic, and hair, deeper pitch of voice in the males and females, they are different. Thickening of the skin in the males, greasy, loss of subcutaneous fat. Adulthood and baldness, BHP prostate cancer. So this has a tremendous effect on the female, on the male, I would say, prostate, and then prostate cancer is the enlargement of the BHP, and this prostate is very important. So androgen action, we have sex organs and secondary sex characters. I have already told, and that's called androgenic. Testosterone changes the puberty, growth genitalis and penis, scrotum, seminal vesicles, prostate, growth hair, pubic, axillary, beard also in the males, mustache, body hair, thickening of this voice, and greasy, sebaceous glands, face. If duct gets blocked, acne, subcutaneous fats lost, veins look prominent. So we have androgen actions like larynx grows, voice deepens, so there's a difference between the and the male boys. Behavioral effects, it is in puberty, increased physical vigor, aggressiveness is there, penile erection is there, testosterone, male libido activated directly, and testosterone produced from estradiol. Testosterone, intrauterine development of the male phenotype is very important here, no doubt. Fetal testis, large amount of the testosterone during first half of uterine life. So testis moderately large doses. If we take the large dose of the androgens, testicular atrophy is there, and then we have gonadotropin secretion from pituitary. Still larger doses we take and directly sustaining effect, and atrophy is less marked. Testosterone needed for the spermatogenesis and maturation of the spermatozoa. High concentration of the testosterone, spermatogenic tubules from Leydig cells for spermatogenesis takes place. So skeletal and these anabolic, I would say, androgenic, how the skeletal muscles and skeletal is taking place, and under the androgens, testosterone, boys pubertal spurt of growth. It is less in girls. A rapid bone growth, we have length and thickness after puberty. The epiphysis, fuse and linear growth is halted. Estradiol produced from the testosterone and estradiol produced from the testosterone, and not testosterone is responsible for fusion of the epiphysis in body as well as girls. Estradiol mediates the effect of the testosterone on both mineralization. So estradiol and skeletal muscle, we have anabolic. Testosterone promotes muscle building of the if aided by the exercise. Accretion of the nitrogen minerals like we have sodium, calcium, phosphorus, sulfur, and water. body weight increases, more protoplasm is built, appetite is improved, sense of well-being is prevailed, exogenous androgen is more marked effect in women and children than in adult. Testosterone, if administered to patients, are prone to salt and water retention and may develop edema. So all the steroids here, it is particularly testosterone, it has a capacity to salt is retained and water is retained, and then this brings about the edema. So we have a fourth, pharmacological response, erythropoiesis. So erythropoiesis is there. Testosterone accelerates the erythropoiesis by increasing erythropoietin production by direct action and hemosynthesis. Men have high hematocrit than women. That's why, because of the erythropoiesis more in case of, males. Now, testosterone DHT difference at target site. Testosterone, pituitary LH inhibition, I told you, and testis, spermatogenesis, internal genitalia, epididymis, was difference, seminal vesicle, development in fetus. So erythropoiesis, dihydrotestosterone is external, it takes the care of genitalia, scrotum, penis, male, urethra. Formation is a separate, entity in fetus, and maturation during puberty. Puberty changes sexual maturity, male behavior, prostate growth, hypertrophy in elderly, hair follicles, growth during the puberty, scalp, hair loss in adults. So bone and skeletal muscle increase in mass and strength, both testosterone and DHT effect is pronounced. So this is the pathway. Testosterone has three pathways. Directly, testosterone and androgenic receptor is prevailed, and then in the we have 5-alpha reductase, that is DHT, and that is also an androgenic receptor. Then CYP19 aromatase, that is estradiol. So they have got the, two have androgenic receptor, structural activity, and the third one is estrogen receptor. In the androgen receptor, through the 5-alpha reductase, we have external genitalia, and then hair follicle and puberty. And also androgen, we have internal genitalia, so skeletal muscle, and then we have bone, in the estradiol. So that's why in the later part of the female, there is the osteoporosis. So estradiol takes care of the osteoporosis in the young age, and the osteoporosis takes place after 45 years of age, because of estradiol is low. That's why we give in osteoporosis estradiol some administration. So mechanism of action, as you know, mechanism of action is very common. Androgen receptor, in the androgen, glucocorticosteroid, thyroid, vitamin D, fatty acids, bile acids, lipid metabolism, they all take the case of the testosterone, mechanism of action, and dihydrotestosterone act via the androgen receptor. They are the nuclear receptors, they are the superfamily, and they have got the good characterization from the cytoplasm. They move to the nucleus, and then they are the ligand binding and DNA binding domains are there, well formed, and mutation in androgenic receptors in complete sexual development. So there is where Kennedy's diseases in spinal and bulbar muscle atrophy is there, and estrogen receptor, testosterone converts to estrogen by CYP19. I told you, deficiency of CYP19 and estrogen receptor failure to fuse long bones, that is called osteoporosis. So this is the different entity, different science you have to deal with. And then we can say this receptor along with the testosterone goes into the cytoplasm, then to the nucleus. Same is the case with the dihydrotestosterone. This is a ligand, and it is being converted from testosterone to dihydrotestosterone, which is more 5-alpha reductase is the enzyme. It is a 90%, which is appreciable, and it goes to the this thing in the nucleus. Now we have androgen pharmacokinetics. Pharmacokinetics deals with the absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion. I have already gone through this. Absorption undergoes high first-pass metabolism, and metabolism is there well pronounced. Therefore, IM injections like intramuscular injections or synthetic preparations are used here. And then we have transport, highly protein bound, 98% SHBG, sex hormone binding globulins and albumin. And then metabolism is by liver enzymes, androsterone and eticolandrone. Excretion is by urine after conjugation, and the maximum steroids, maximum these androgens or testosterones are being conjugated in the phase 2, and sulfation is also there. Small quantity of the estrogen also produced from the testosterone. Now, this androgen pharmacokinetics, I have already touched it, and metabolism, I can for androsterone and eticolandrone excreted in urine after conjugation. Small quantity of estrogen also produced from testosterone. So, methyl testosterone, flexomesterone, and metabolize slowly because they are the synthetic. And estrogens are not produced from the dihydroprogesterone and flexomesterone. So this dihydroprogesterone. So this is the active metabolite and inactive metabolite, because the water solubility is very important once it is being converted into the more polar compounds. And then we have the therapeutic androgen preparations. We have testosterone. They are, testosterone is injectable orally, inactivated by liver, and usually given in intramuscular injections of testosterone esters. So esterification of fatty acids at 17 hydroxy group, and examples are propionate 25 to 50 milligram, enanthate we have 100 milligram, depot preparations. Depot preparation will be taken one slide separately, and depot is once we give the dose, and it is being intramuscular dose is given 100 milligram. It remains there for a longer time, and slowly it is released, and it maintains the plasma concentration of this preparation. Undeconate is oily, that's why it is oily. It is being liberated slowly, and sometimes it is orally given. Effects last for 2 to 3 weeks. Transdermal preparations are there, implants are there, capsules are there, patch system is there, and may improve compliance, because compliance is being improved. Here is you forget taking things, and the sustained plasma concentration is maintained. More stable levels and symptoms, effects last for months together. So they are long acting once we have these pharmaceutical, components are well defined, and they are being maintained for a longer time in the depot form. So these are the testosterone preparations, and this is the dose. Testosterone aqueous suspension, we have 50 to 100 milligram per 2 weeks. Testosterone esters, we have propionate, we have phenyl propionate, we have cypionate, and we have enanthate. It ranges from 25 to 50 milligrams 3 times a day, 40 to 60 milligrams we give 1 or 2 weeks, and 100 to 200 milligrams 2 weeks, and 250 milligrams per 2 weeks. So orally active preparation, we have methyl testosterone tablets, flexomesterone, mesterone, and transdermal patch. We have 2 patch per day, and back and abdomen, thigh. These are the areas where we can use these transdermal patch. And implants also wall of abdomen and thigh. So we have different administrational, preparations present. So this is very important to hold this, different preparations. Now we have therapeutic use of androgens. Androgen replacement therapy we give, ART we call as. ART uses active derivatives of the testosterone rather than synthetic androgen, because they are safe, effective, and easy to monitor. So therapeutic uses are very important. ART androgen replacement therapy, where the androgen is less, and we have to characterize, and then we have to give the dose accordingly. Androgen deficiency clinical diagnosis confirmed by the hormone assays is usually caused by. So hormonal assays are very important. LH, FSH, androgen, these are linked. LH, FSH, these levels are very important. Undergoing testicular disorders, high LH we have, but low testosterone level. I have already mentioned it. Hypothalamic pituitary disorders, low LH and low testosterone level, and at that time we have to give the ART. Goal is to mimic the normal testosterone concentration as closely as possible. Serum concentration monitoring is very important tool. If untreated, does not shorten life expectancy, but is associated with significant morbidity, ambiguous genitalia, delayed puberty, and infertility. So this is very important. You have to give this androgen replacement therapy. treated by androgen replacement therapy ART usually for the remainder of life. The aim is to restore tissue androgen exposure by using the natural androgen testosterone. So this is very important ART in the androgen replacement therapy. So transdermal, I have told you, androgen delivery, it is called the transdermal androgen delivery, TAD, TAD. Delivery across skin has been achieved by developing suitable solvents and absorption facilitators, by cutaneous delivery. Testosterone or dihydrotestosterone circumvent hepatic first pass metabolism, and uniform blood levels are achieved or produced around the clock. A gel formulation has been marketed for once daily application, which has become the preferred method of ART, androgen replacement therapy for hypogonadism and import. So this is called as a 3D. 3D means drug delivery for disease, and we have, I would say, depot. So these are the 3Ds. The aim is to reach the concentration at the target level. Now uses hypopituitarism, ART number 1, hypopituitary monitoring at anticipated time of puberty. AIDS related muscle wasting, when there is an AIDS disease, HIV, and it is muscle wasting, at that time we can use it. Hereditary angioneurotic edema, methyl testosterone is given. Aging, we misuse, because we misuse also these drugs, involves prescription with co-acceptable medical induction. Examples of misuse include male infertility, male sexual dysfunction or impotence, male menopause, andropause that we call it. So in male also there is a menopause. We have not to use such drugs. This is a misuse. No convincing evidence that androgen therapy is either effective treatment of or safe for older men unless there is a frank androgen deficiency. So this is the very important tool that we have to optimize. We have to see, we cannot misuse the androgen therapy. So this is very important. So androgen's adverse effects, we have virilization, may occur in women receiving relatively high dose of prolonged periods, such as for estrogen dependent mammary carcinoma. So this virilization, so it is advantageous, but when we use it high dose, so there is a virilization. And also cholestatic jaundice is there, may be produced by steroid possessing a 17 alkyl substituted group. Priapism, sustained erection, that also. Oligospermia, edema via promotion of the salt and water retention, that I have already. Precocious puberty and short stature, and acne, hepatic carcinoma, gynecomastia. These are the, I would say, some adverse effects of the androgens. So anabolic steroids I am taking in the next lecture. Thank you very much for listening, and next lecture will start from the anabolic steroids. Okay, I hope that you will prepare it for the assessment purposes also, and because there will be an assessment separately dealt after my second lecture, and you be prepared. You have to go through the books, you have to go through the pathways, you have to go through its pharmacokinetics, pharmacodynamics, preparations, and also mechanism of action. This is very important in steroidal mechanism of action. Thank you very much.